So this is the Hagibis M2 magnetic drive enclosure, and on its surface it's clearly designed to be used with devices that have MagSafe or maybe even Pixel Snap. But I think its best use case is actually something else entirely. In fact, I think it's the most practical storage solution I've found for the Steam Deck. And there's a couple of reasons for that. It's compact, it's inexpensive, and I think it solves one of the main problems with portable storage on the Steam Deck. So let's take a closer look. Oh, and this isn't a sponsored video, by the way, it's just something I found online and paid for with my own money. So let's start with what you get in the box. First up is the enclosure itself, which is small and has a nice solid metal construction. You also get 2 adhesive metal rings, which we'll be using one of shortly, and there's also 2 different lengths of flexible angled USB-C cables, and a couple of spare screws, which is a really nice touch. You also get all the tools you need to install an SSD, a couple of small screwdrivers and 2 thermal pads, and finally they include a simple soft pouch just to keep it from getting all scratched up. What makes this device particularly interesting, especially for the Steam Deck, is the ports. This actually comes with 3 USB-C ports. So the first is the host connection, in our case that'll be the Steam Deck. The second is a 100-watt power pass-through, and the third is a USB-C port. This means you can charge your Steam Deck through the drive and still have a port free for any other accessory. And now you're probably starting to see why this is the real deal. Now obviously it doesn't come with an SSD, but 2230 drives are becoming increasingly cheaper. I'm using a 512GB drive that I used to have in my Steam Deck, which was then upgraded to a 2TB drive, and if you're interested in that process of upgrading and cloning, check out the link in the description for my other video. The enclosure cost me about £25 on AliExpress, which is around $34 US. Okay, so the installation is really simple, and I'm going to prove that by doing it now. You just remove these 4 screws from the cover, slot in your M2 drive, install the thermal pad, which is included, and secure the cover back on. The pad wedges nicely between the drive and the metal cover, making it ideal for dissipating the heat. Next, we'll prep the Steam Deck. Just take one of the adhesive metal rings, find a good spot on the back and stick it down firmly. Now I'm going to choose a spot right here, and there are a couple of good reasons for that. So first of all, it keeps the drive away from the hottest areas on the Steam Deck, which can be seen here when using a thermal camera. Second reason is it's roughly central, which means it's aesthetically pleasing and keeps the balance just right. Third reason is when you pair the shortest cable in the box with this little right angled USB-C connector, which I got really cheap from AliExpress, it's the perfect length and keeps the charging port at the bottom, which is my personal preference. And now with the built-in magnet, it just snaps right on and provides a pretty strong connection. I think it's a really tidy setup. So who is this enclosure for? I think firstly it's for people who want to upgrade the storage on their Steam Deck, either people who are not comfortable opening the Steam Deck and upgrading the internal drive, or people that have already done that and just want to add a little bit extra. But there is another really practical use for this drive, and that is setting up another operating system on it. Now you can install Windows 11 on this, for example, and leave SteamOS running on the Steam Deck, which means you can boot between the two and have the best of both worlds without messing around with dual configurations and partitions and things on your internal storage. Now I have a really simple video on my channel about running Windows 11 from a microSD card on the Steam Deck, and the process for installing it on this enclosure is exactly the same. The only difference would be when you come to choose the drive you want to flash the image onto, you would choose this one instead. And there are a couple of advantages to running a second operating system off of an NVMe drive rather than an SD card, and they're mainly speed and endurance. So SD cards are designed for fewer read-write cycles. So if you're using Windows on there occasionally and running an operating system off it, that's okay. But if it's going to be your daily driver and it's something you're going to boot into regularly and use a lot, then you're probably best using this solution instead. So there you have it, the Hagibis magnetic M2 enclosure. Let me know what you think in the comments if this was useful, if it's something that you'll consider buying, and I'll see you in the next one.